This audio is brought to you by Priscille's Pens and Scribbles. What's up, guys? This is Tara Emmanuel. I welcome you to episode 2 of the PPS Club podcast. And in today's episode, guess what? I'm not going to talk about my own work. Yeah, you heard that right. It's not about my own work today. It's about another exciting, interesting novel. And the author has agreed to answer a few of our questions. I'm going to see you after the break and we're going to dive right in. Welcome back to the PPS Club Podcast Edition, episode number 2, where I'm going to present to you this wonderful novel that I've read in, I think it's been like a month. The book itself is great, and the author is very kind. So, right now, we're going to have a little moment to get acquainted with the book titled What If Stars Don't Die? And What If Stars Don't Die is a young adult novel that was released in November 2020, written by Ivy Oaks, that's the name of the author. And in the book, the main character is a young adolescent boy still in school, and the book follows him through the process of him grieving the loss of his parents. Both of his parents died in a car accident. That's a quick summary, and I'm going to go straight up and tell you what I loved about this book, because this book, though it's a very sad story, I love the fact that it has a positive spin on it. What I loved the most about this book is just how we are introduced straight up to this boy, and he's the one telling us the story. And his voice is incredibly moving. Like, if you read it, this boy has a way of talking. You don't need to be sentimental to feel something. And the beauty of it all is that you don't want anything bad to happen to him. It's just so precious. He's not weak, even though in the beginning he's portrayed as this very soft boy, but he's not a crybaby, and it's amazing. It's amazing how everything that felt like a loss turned out to be like an open door for him to gain so much more. He lost the two most important people of his life, yet he ended up going into this self-discovery journey, and he ended up with a family he didn't know he had and friends he didn't know he could make. So now, before I introduce you to the author, I'm just going to read the prologue and the first chapter of this book. And then afterwards, Ivy Oaks is going to introduce herself to us. I asked her to answer a few of our questions, if not a lot of questions, I don't know. And she was very kind to do it, and I appreciate her so much for doing this. So stay with us and see you in a few. This is What If Stars Don't Die, read by Tara Emmanuel. Prologue. There are days on which death should not exist. Mom and Dad's funeral took place on an obscenely sunny and gorgeous day. Ideally, a cold rain would fall from the sky and sweep the earth heaven mourning over the now broken family. However, even some birds dared to sing as if they were celebrating the lives that were lost. I stood there watching as earth fell on the coffins, leaving a bitter taste in my mouth as the reality of this tenuous thread called life weighed on me. In a morbid way, there was something incredibly beautiful about Mom and Dad being buried together. I hoped they loved each other enough, for they would remain side by side for eternity. Chapter 1. It was almost funny how sometimes the brain, such a powerful machine, refused to process harsh truths. It didn't really matter how the words were placed. Suddenly, there was nothing but a blank hollow. No more waking up by the sound of the annoying bird clock alarm, hearing mom and dad getting ready to face the day, well aware that nothing new would happen, having breakfast filled with silence except for a bit of small talk just as burnt as my mom's toast. They were involved in an accident, Principal Lawson said, without giving me any specific details but letting me know their car was completely lost and so were they. I blinked, speechless. How unbelievable was that? They were at home when I left, so for some odd reason, I thought maybe I could make it home. They would still be there. Principal Lawson pressed his hands on my shoulders as if this gesture were going to be able to give me the strength required to face what he just said. When a not too friendly cop suddenly walked inside the office, I realized that I had seen two cops standing outside right before Principal Lawson invited me in. It just never occurred to me that it could have something to do with me. Just like sirens and ambulances, I never thought much about them simply because it was not supposed to head to my house. Bad things happen in the newspaper, where the dead usually didn't have a name or a face, nothing but numbers. Do you have any other family members in town? I shrugged for an answer. Perhaps grandparents or an uncle? I have an aunt. Mom used to call her for holidays, but I didn't get to see her very often. She doesn't live nearby. I was not recognizing my own words. The voice coming out of my mouth seemed to belong to someone else. And this stranger was a liar. Why was I even lying? The question kept popping in my head. I couldn't think properly. The silence inside my head was too loud. Again, things were happening too fast. I was so confused. Can you give me your phone number? I don't have it with me. Mom has a phone book at home. I can go pick it up for you. Great, well, we'll take you there. She nodded her head toward the other police officer who was standing near a plastic fern, evidence of Principal Larson's questionable taste. I appreciate that, but no, thank you. I brought my bag and I want to ride home if you don't mind. God knows my mom would not be happy if I left it in the schoolyard where the pickpockets to whom she always referred with chagrin will take it. I never heard someone say pickpockets before or after. You're a minor. By definition, it means you can't roam the town without an adult. Am I under arrest? I asked with a shaky voice. According to my grandfather, being a Morris required I stand up with the confidence developed only by the ones born with an already earned life. Of course, I could never do it, and apparently my shaky voice was not enough to scare a policewoman. Principal Lawson shook his head in a clear reminder of my current situation, very likely in shock and traumatized. She stepped aside, allowing me to leave. That was it, friends. An excerpt from the book, and we're going right ahead with the Q&A with the author Ivy Oaks. And yeah, let's get to know a little bit, and we'll have our word of the month right after that.
question, tell us a bit about yourself. Who is Yvette Oaks? Hello everyone, I am a writer. I love books. I'm a writer and I love traveling. I like wine as well. I also love my friends and family. I feel like I'm the luckiest person on the entire earth because I'm surrounded by such amazing people. I know people usually say those things, but really, they are really amazing. And they are so supportive because I'm constantly doing random stuff and picking adventures that are not like very rational or logical, and still they just support me, and it's crazy, and I'm very grateful for that. And it's also crazy because I don't have many friends because I'm not a very sociable person. Actually, I don't even like crowds or leaving the house. I love traveling, like for traveling, just travels, but not like just walking. And they help me through so many things. And talking about books, I think I was able to write and publish and everything because I had the support from them to do it. So yeah, there's that. I speak 5 languages and I love learning. I'm constantly learning. I actually like learning about anything and everything except mathematics. I hate mathematics. I hate numbers, except if it's money. I like money, but I don't like numbers. Like I can't do mathematics to save my life. Just shoot me, don't ask me how much is 3 plus 3, just go ahead, end my life. I don't care. I'm very stubborn and clumsy. I do know how to write, but I don't know how to drive because I don't understand spaces very well. I think that's why I'm clumsy. So I'm very scared of learning how to drive. I will though. I plan to learn how to drive this year. Let's see how it goes. So yeah, that's me. I think I'm a pretty boring person. I don't think there's much to say. I find joy in music. I'm always surrounded by sounds and music. Although I am a terrible singer. I sing so awfully badly. It's horrible. But I'm always singing and I'm always surrounded by music. I'm surrounded by books and by amazing people. So I can say I'm a very lucky and happy person. It's nice meeting you. Question number 2. In the first pages of your book, there's a dedication to your mother who understood pretty soon you would have been a terrible doctor, which spiked my curiosity. I thought there's a story there and would love to hear more about how it's shaped who you are today. Yeah. So basically, my mom, she wanted her daughter to be a doctor, and we kind of talked this through as it was her dream that she couldn't fulfill. And as a daughter, I want to make my mom happy, and I can understand that it can be very complicated that I just showed up one day and said, hey mom, I'm actually going to drop out of college and I'm going to be a writer. But my mom, she is my biggest supporter. Like, she supports me so much and she's always encouraging me. It's actually very funny because she's always like, oh my god, your books are the best books I've ever read in my entire life, and she is so proud of that. And it's so beautiful to see, and thinking as an adult, we can put so much expectations on other people and on what we want them to do. So it was very special to me that she could just walk out of those expectations and say, I just want my daughter to be happy, instead of saying, I want her to do what I want her to do. So I always dedicate my books to my mom because she's the first one to read them, and she's the first one to actually know that there's a story coming, because she's always asking about it. Like, every day my mom asks, how is the book going? How is the book going? Yeah, she's my number one brother. Question number 3. What genres do you love reading and how have they influenced your writing? The question here really should be, what genres don't you read? Because I read literally anything and everything. If I can grab a book, I'm gonna be reading it. And it really doesn't matter if it's a good book or a bad book. I mean, if it's a bad book, I'm gonna complain a lot. Everyone's gonna know that I hated that book. But I'm still gonna read it and reach the end. But there's so many authors that have influenced me and so many authors that I love, like Sir Arthur Conan Doyle, Neil Gaiman, the Brown Sisters, Jane Austen, my god, Tolkien, C.S. Lewis, Stephanie Meyer, Nicholas Sparks. Really, I read romance, I read Polish romance, I read horror books, I read webtoons. I love comics. I love science fiction, Jules Verne. And this is actually a problem, and my manager can talk about it pretty loudly, because nowadays when I'm writing, I can't stick to just one genre. Like, of course, there are genres that are more appealing, for example, romance or young adult, but like I can't stick to it, or to just an audience, like just write for kids. Or I have written books for kids, books for teenagers, books for adults, books for like older people, and it's a mess. My manager really has a hard time putting a marketing strategy because of that. We try to put and release and publish the books that are like more relatable, like closer to the genre each other. Even a series like I'm writing, I already finished it, but it's not published yet. The series, the Halle series, and inside of the series, it switches genres inside of the series. So yeah, I am heavily influenced by the books I read, and I'm very proud of that, because the books, they saved my life and they made me who I am today. So I'm so proud of becoming a writer and being able to kind of give back to what I received. So that's beautiful. Question number 4. What if Stars Don't Die is a book in the Halle series set in a small town with the same name? Looking closely at world building and the focus of the story, what made you pick a small town for setting as opposed to a big city or even space where a lot more could take place? I'm gonna tell you a little secret. I actually wrote Halle because I'm lazy. That's it. I said it out loud. When Dan was telling me his story, I didn't know where he was based at. Like, where are you? And at the same time, I didn't want to have to research, like know the name of the streets and know all of that in order to write it. I wanted to be more flexible, and really more flexible because I'm lazy. And if it were like a real city, I would have to stick to that. And on the story, Halle's story, Dan was the first character. It was not Sarah, it was Dan. And he is at a big city that in reality, when I was writing the book, it was called Big City. That was the name of the big city, like Big City. And he was at the big city, and then he goes to a small city. And I named it Halle because of the comment. I'm not very creative, as you can tell. So that's why it's a small city. I know that I could make more with a big city, but he was coming from a big city to a smaller city, so that was how the story goes, and I couldn't change it. Question number 5. Who is your favorite character in the book? Wow. Okay. This is tricky because I don't want the other characters. I like Dan. He was the first character that I've ever seen and that I have ever talked to, and the first character that I got to know. He taught me how to be a writer. I didn't know before him that I was a writer. Nowadays, I have written 12 books after them, and like many characters came in and I wrote many stories, but still to this day, Dan, he just has a special place in my heart. I mean, I'm not even talking about his book, I'm talking about like a whole. He is still one of my dearest and favorite character. I just love how much he grew on the story and how much he learned as a human being. Like, he went from being so scared and lost and broken to really taking the chance to be happy and to help others. Not even going to mention the fact that he opened up to heal. Healing can be so hard, and I'm just so proud of him. And actually, I was not going to publish. I have never thought about publishing books, but then I thought it was just so unfair that his story, he had such a beautiful story to tell, and that I wouldn't publish it because I was scared of criticism. So this is what made me publish, because I needed the world to know his story. I needed him to tell his story. So yeah, Don is my favorite character. And then after him, I love Julian. I like Maggie, kinda, sorta. Not so much. I like her. And I love Mr. Tinkle. I love Mr. Tinkle. Question number 6. Is there a character in the book with whom you share an experience or a personality trait? There is and there is not. I mean, I haven't based a character on myself. Like, I have never done that. However, I am a hidden character in the book. Yeah. You didn't know that, huh? There's a scene in there where Dan and Maggie, they go to the ball with some elders and they get to dance, and Dan is even offered a cigarette, which he doesn't take, but he's offered. And they have some fun and they get to meet Sammy and then they leave. I am one of those characters. I am one of the ladies that gets to dance with Dan. This is actually a very funny story because when I was writing Dan, I didn't even know I was a writer yet. I mean, I just had this story, and there was this, character that was like whispering his story to me. And I remember he started talking about astronomy, and I panicked because I don't even know the name of any stars. Like, I don't know anything about astronomy. I can't, nothing, literally nothing. And then I was so scared because I was like, oh my God. Of course, it took a lot of research, but I also had a lot of help. I joined a astronomy group and I received amazing help and amazing support from them. And I'm talking about 6 years ago, and to this day, I'm still friends with those guys. Can you believe that? They were so supportive, and Dan is alive today. The book is here today because of their help, because I couldn't have possibly made it through, because some things, it seems easy when you read it, but it was actually very tough to write. And they would help me and give me the feedback that it was not a wrong information in there. And they were so excited about the book and about everything. And then as a way of saying thank you, I put all of them in the book. So we are all of us. They were the first readers of the book because they read it as I was writing, and as I was writing the technical astronomical parts, they were the first one to read and point out mistakes. And I remember when I inserted that scene and I didn't tell anything, I didn't say a word, and then they were reading and they read their names and they were like, oh my God, we are characters, and they were so excited. So yeah, this is very dear to me and it's fun actually. I am in the book. Let's see if you can guess my name. Question number 8. I read about death, especially when it's a triggering subject for most of us. This is a very good and important question, by the way. Thank you for asking this. So there are basically 3 reasons why I write about death, and I get questioned quite often about this, and I think it's because one of the reasons, death is a part of life just like life itself, and I believe it's important to acknowledge it as something. Be aware that it is going to happen and that we need to live while we're alive. We can get stuck in such small things and we may lose sight of what is really important. But when we acknowledge that we are eventually going to die and that our loved ones will also pass away, then we live life to the fullest. You get to do the phone calls that you never do. You get to visit your parents more often. You get to hug people you wouldn't hug otherwise. You get to enjoy foods you wouldn't. It's hard to face this, but I think it's important. The other reason is books and movies that I've seen. Most of them, death, the process of grieving is usually this perfect thing where the characters know exactly what to say in the perfect moments, and grieving is actually not like this. It's messed up. It's very, very messed up, and it's very hard And of course, on the movies, it's sad, but it usually goes on for 3 minutes. And then the person is okay or has moved on or uses this to kill half of the city because of the dog that died. When in reality, death is not like that. It comes sometimes very silently, very suddenly, and we don't know how to react and we don't know what to do, and it's okay. Which leads me to the third point, because I've seen some people grieving. We all have, especially with the times that we're living. Those are such hard times, and sometimes I've witnessed people pointing fingers and judging others people process of grieving, like, oh my gosh, she's not crying, or she's crying too much, or does she feel guilty, or when actually nobody should tell us how to grieve. No one should tell us how to heal, because it's a personal process, and you don't have to have the perfect reaction just like in the movies or in the books. It's okay if you don't know what to do. It's okay if you can't cry. It's okay if you want to cry by yourself, if you don't want to cry in the middle of people. It's okay if you want to cry in the middle of people. It's okay if you don't want to talk about it. It's okay if you want to talk about it. It's important that we acknowledge that people grieve differently. The pain is different for everyone, and we express it differently. So it's very important that we start talking about it, that we start talking about mental health issues that are related to grieving and to death. Because if we don't talk about this, if we don't normalize talking about it, this is going to keep on happening. For example, on Dante's, on his parents' funeral, he does not cry, and for a good part of the book, in the beginning, he doesn't even want to talk about it, and he just acts as if his parents were still alive, as if they were going to show up and pick him up, and he's just there. And some people grieve like this. Some people actually were so shocked by what happened that they can't react, and there are people who point fingers to this reaction. I've seen it. So I thought it was important to have this, that kind of show that because you're not seeing the person crying in front of you doesn't mean the person is not going to cry when he's alone. He's not going to yell and he's not going to break down, because it does happen.
Well, thank you so much, Ivy Oaks, for doing this Q&A with us. I really appreciate you for that. And to our dear listeners, I hope you really enjoyed this moment. I hope it was relaxing, because the author really answered our questions with such enthusiasm, and we love it. We love to hear it. So we are almost at the end, but if you want to know more about author Ivy Oaks and her books, just click the link to her newsletter in the description. And if you want to hear the rest of this interview, the rest of the questions have been posted on Substack at the ppsclub.substack.com. That's where you will find the rest of the Q&A and the answers. And well, yeah, we are at the end, and this is about the time when we have our word of the month. We are back with a new expression this month. And if you remember last month, we had in episode 1 our word of the month in Lingala. Lingala, which is a language from the central part of Africa, in case you were wondering. It doesn't just belong to one country. It's spoken by the DRC and in Congo, Brazzaville, and like in that region. Yeah. And so this month, it's going to be an expression in French, which is a language from France. and it's actually my first language. I'm going to speak in French, then we'll translate in English and Lingala as well. Quoi qu'il arrive. Na Lingala, attendez-les. I'm just going to translate straight up for our listeners. The word of the month is from French, quoi qu'il arrive, which means come what may, is actually a way for you to tell yourself, come what may, I will do whatever I was set up to do in this month, and I'm not going to give up. And I actually encourage you to pick up a task or a project or a plan that you previously gave up on, like something that turned out to be difficult because maybe you were not prepared, and tell yourself, come what may, I will. Then you complete the phrase with your personal challenge. So thank you for sticking around from the beginning till the end, and I will see you all in the next episode with another exciting story. Until then, don't forget to spawn, show, and sway. Bye.